That was a few pictures of bike packing over in Glenfeshie, not very far from where I live. And probably like you, I'm kind of desperate to get out of this lockdown and get on my bike with all my gear and have a couple of nights out in the wilds. But I guess we have to wait a few more weeks for that. I've come to bike packing fairly late in life, after maybe 40-45 years of backpacking routes like the GR20 and Corsica, the John Muir Trail and the California Sierra Nevada mountains, lots of big routes in Europe, the Tour of Mont Blanc, and it's been great, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And I've kind of realised that a lot of the skills and certainly the equipment and the philosophy of ultra lightweight backpacking can be carried over quite easily into bikepacking. And I thought I'd just show you some of the gear that I use. Quite a lot of people ask me what type of tent do I use, or what type of sleeping bag, how do I carry my gear on my bike. And essentially I use these bags from Apidura, these bike bags. They're pretty good. This is the one that goes in the back behind the saddle. I've got this one here, which is basically a tube with an extra little bag on the front, which I use on the front handlebars. And in these two bags I carry everything that I need other than food. I was going to say food and water. I kind of carry just a bike bottle on the bike. I found in Scotland you very rarely need to carry water. There's plenty of it around, so I tend not to carry water. But anyway, this is all my gear: tent, sleeping bag, cooking equipment, all the rest of it that I need for a night away. Everything apart from food. And the combined weight of these two bags is just under 10 pounds. So it's pretty lightweight, kind of going on ultra lightweight. Let me just show you what I have in here. In this rear bag, which is the lighter of the two, I find that I can just stuff in here my tent. You'll notice that I don't use bags, I just stuff them directly in here. The tent I have is a MSR Hubba, and I'll show you the tent in just a second. And what I like about this, the length of this rear saddle bag, is the fact that I can get my poles in as well. This is always a big problem with bike packing. It's where you put your tent poles, and quite often before the midge season starts, I'll use a tarp which is kind of erected using a trekking pole. And you don't use trekking poles when you're cycling, so you have to carry the trekking pole somewhere. But I like this tent because the poles are fairly short, and I can get the poles in this bag as well. As well. Another thing that goes in this bag is my sleeping bag. This is a rather nice lightweight down sleeping bag from a company called Sea to Summit. It's an Australian company, and this is the kind of very lightweight down sleeping bag. It's called the Spark True Ultra Dry Down, 850 loft down, and for me it works perfect in the summer. So that's all that goes into this rear saddle bag. In this bag I've got this little pouch on the front that carries iPhone, mosquito coils, midgie coils, which are crucial in Scotland in the summer, and various bits and pieces, a torch and all those little bits and pieces that you carry with you. And in the tube part of this, I carry everything else that I need. And here is my trusted titanium pot. I only need one pot. This Titan titanium from MSR has lasted me quite a number of years, and you'll see in a minute it fits right into my stove. I've got a Thermarest, a blow up Thermarest mattress, which again I'll show you. Fuel, this is all I need for one night away, probably more than I need. Meths is great, but it's quite heavy and relatively expensive, but I like a meth stove because the stove itself is lovely and lightweight. I carry a bladder, a water bladder, which I fill up at a stream or something. I have it by my tent in case I need water during the night. I've got a very lightweight waterproof cycling jacket, which is nice and light and can be packed away. What else have we got in here? My knife, fork and spoon set, lighters, spare lighters and spare lighters all live in this little bag. And yeah, in here I have my stove, and I'll show you the stove in just a few minutes. It all packs into this little plastic container, and the top of the container doubles up as my mug. Quite useful. Anything that gives us dual use when you're lightweight backpacking is very, very useful. So this is called a caldera cone, and it's made of titanium, so it's very, very light. And as I mentioned, I use the lid of this little plastic packaging tube as a mug, doubling up. So fundamentally this is a meth stove taken from a Trangia. I like Trangia, I like meth stoves, but I find the whole Trangia thing just too big and bulky for either backpacking or bike packing. But the little stove piece itself is extremely well made, and I think vastly superior to a lot of the homemade Coca-Cola can type stove you get. I've had several over the years, but they don't last long, and if you happen to stand in one, then it's dead. But this is pretty robust. It's slightly heavier than the Coca-Cola top things, but I think it's pretty good. And fundamentally what you have is a windshield, this titanium cone-shaped windshield, which works so effectively. And I've got these little pieces here which kind of go on the ground and stop the ground from getting patched or burnt. That sits in the top. The stove sits inside, and you fill it up with some of your meths. And the beautiful thing about this caldera cone is it's the perfect size for taking this, I think it's 1 litre MSR titanium pot, and that just slips in there. So you get complete protection from any wind or breeze that's blowing, and it boils water up pretty quickly. So that's the caldera cone titanium meth stove. Now what else have we got in here? Nothing, just a spare bag, and that's a lot. So that's my bike packing kit, just under £10 of it. It works for me. It takes a wee bit of knowledge, a wee bit of experience to use ultra lightweight gear, but it is well worthwhile getting the weight of your gear down. Bike packing is great, and the bikes are great until it comes to carrying them over a river or a bit of bike and hike, and then you really appreciate the fact that you've spent some time and effort getting your weight down to an acceptably low level. Some people ask me quite a lot about my e-bike. Do a bike pack on my e-bike? And I probably would, for if I was just going away for one night. I reckon I've got a range of maybe 50-60 miles, and that's fine for a one night journey. But again, you have to remember the weight of your e-bike is quite appreciable, and if you're going to load that up with even more gear, it becomes quite difficult to lift over, you know, either over fences or crossing rivers. So there we are. All I have to do now is wait until we get clearance from this COVID-19 lockdown, and the trails and the hills are waiting. Enjoy it when you can. And if anybody is interested in my bike, and I think this bike proves that you don't need top class gravel bikes or whatever to go bike packing. This is a bike I bought for £150 from a local second-hand bike shop. It's a Fuji Nevada mountain bike with 29-inch wheels, and it rolls along really beautifully, and it's absolutely fine. The only thing I've changed on it is the handlebars, and I've put these H-loop, Jones H-loop handlebars on it, which I find really quite comfortable, and also pretty good for hanging gear from. So that's the only change I've made to this second-hand bike shop bike that I bought for £150, Fuji Nevada.